Am I too interested in sex?
Do I have to like boys?
Where are all these pimples coming from?
Are my breasts the right size?
Is my penis growing enough?
When will I get my period?
Am I normal?
I've heard of puberty, but don't know all that much about it.
What does puberty mean anyway?
Puberty comes from two Latin words. One means becoming an adult. The second means to grow hair.
Puberty involves both these meanings. Basically, it's about each person's brain, body, and emotions maturing and growing up over several years. Some people start early, some later. Some people end early, some end later.
But sooner or later, everyone goes through it in becoming our unique adult selves.
So, exactly what does go on during puberty?
There are many small details to know about puberty, but the big picture is about change. Physical changes. Your body grows in ways that prepare it for reproduction, which means to have children. Mental changes. Your brain becomes capable of more sophisticated thinking. Emotional changes. You have new feelings, including feelings of increased interest in sex. Moods also change and often become more complex. Everyone experiences these changes differently and at different times. Some changes may be happening in you right now. Others may happen years from now.
Because there are so many variations in how kids go through puberty, it's easy to compare yourself with other kids and maybe worry that something might be wrong with you. The fact is, the changes you and your friends are going through, whenever you start, whatever the pace, however long they take, are almost surely a natural and normal part of puberty. So, if you are worried, relax. It is okay to feel different. It is okay to look different. The most natural thing is just to be you.
As you go through puberty, your brain grows and matures. You can understand so much more about life than when you were a child. Your ability to make smart choices is also developing.
You're forming opinions and developing talents that will help you decide what you will do in the future. You're figuring out how you fit in. You're learning how to accept responsibility for yourself. You're in the process of growing up.
But what actually causes these changes? I feel so different than I used to.
Chemicals called hormones are messengers that travel through your bloodstream and tell your body to grow and change. They determine how your muscles develop. Hormones influence whether you gain or lose weight easily. They can even affect your mood. During puberty, hormones create rapid changes in your body.
But hormones aren't new to your body. You've had them all along. Puberty begins when a part of your brain called the hypothalamus signals the pituitary gland, which is the master gland in the body that acts like a command central.
Hormones released by the pituitary gland travel through the blood to the testes in men and to the ovaries in women. The result of these signals is to produce increasing amounts of the sex hormones, testosterone in men, estrogen, progesterone, and even some testosterone in women. During puberty, these hormones zoom into action, affecting different parts of the body to transform you from a girl into a woman, or from a boy into a man. At the same time, another hormone, a growth hormone, initiates your growth spurts and you suddenly get taller.
For me, puberty began when my pituitary gland sent a hormonal message down to my testicles, telling them to increase production of the sex hormone testosterone.
And that's when things really started happening.
My vocal cords started growing, my voice started getting deeper. But it doesn't happen overnight, so sometimes my voice still cracks. At the same time, I'm growing much taller. My muscles are larger and my shoulders are wider too.
And there's more. The sweat glands and oil glands in my skin suddenly woke up, so I'm sweating a lot more, and sometimes I get pimples.
Hair is starting to grow in new places. Under my arms, on my face, and my chest, but not that much. And there's even hair all around my genitals.
Genitals?
Genitals are reproductive, or sex organs. In guys, it's your penis, your testicles, and your scrotum, which is the sac holding your two testicles. Inside the testicles is where sperm are starting to be produced. The maturation of genitals is an important part of puberty.
Does maturation cause erections?
Erections happen when signals from the brain release special chemicals, resulting in extra blood filling the spongy tissue inside the penis. This causes the penis to become large and stiff. Erections occur even in childhood. But once you begin puberty and begin to make sperm, you can also ejaculate, releasing a small amount of whitish thick liquid out of the tip of your penis. A little spurt of white milky-looking ejaculate contains hundreds of millions of sperm.
Sometimes when I wake up, there is a wet, sticky spot on my sheets. What is it?
In puberty, young men experience wet dreams for the first time. A wet dream is when you ejaculate in your sleep. It is normal to ejaculate. When you ejaculate, you may experience a sudden, strong feeling of pleasure. This is known as an orgasm. Masturbation is when you touch or rub your genitals to feel this kind of pleasure. Let's take a closer look at the inside of a testicle. Here, you see the sperm, which are invisible to the human eye. Each tiny sperm cell has 3 parts. A sperm head that has chemicals called enzymes, a midsection with its energy production center, and a tail that wiggles, which allows the sperm to swim. Once you begin puberty, testicles work around the clock to produce hundreds of millions of sperm every day.
For me, as a girl, puberty began when the pituitary gland sent a hormonal message to my ovaries telling them to start making sex hormones, especially estrogen. Estrogen is what makes girls' bodies begin to get a little rounder. So now I have hips and breasts.
Hair is starting to grow under my arms, on my legs, and around my genitals. My voice is getting a little deeper, although not by much.
My sweat and oil glands are getting more active, and sure, I get a few pimples every now and then.
Am I changing on the inside as well?
Women's genitals are comprised of several parts. The internal parts include the ovaries and the uterus, which is also called the womb. The external parts include the vagina, which is the passage between the cervix, which is the lower tip of the uterus, to an outer opening in our bodies. It may not be easy to see this opening because it is protected by folds of skin called the labia. Above the opening to the vagina is a tiny opening for urine to come out when you pee. Just above it is the clitoris, which is very sensitive to touch. The clitoris is a cluster of nerve endings that makes sex feel pleasurable for women. Touching this area allows women to experience an orgasm. When you touch yourself to feel this pleasure, it is called masturbation. The entire outer area of a woman's genitals is called the vulva.
But how does this all come together to make me become a woman?
The hormones guiding the growth of these genital areas also control your menstrual cycle. Cramps, moodiness, and your period are all the results of cyclical changes in your hormone levels.
Exactly what is a menstrual period?
At puberty, under the influence of hormones, eggs, or ovum begin to grow inside the ovaries. Either the left or right ovary then releases 1 egg per month. When that egg leaves the ovary, it travels through a tiny tube, the fallopian tube, and lands in the uterus.
During intercourse, ejaculate travels up the cervix and into the uterus, and from there can swim into the fallopian tube. If the egg is penetrated by a man's sperm, the egg will become fertilized and travel down the tube to the uterus.
Meanwhile, the uterus prepares for the possibility of a fertilized egg. Just like fluffing up the cushions on the sofa for a guest, the uterus builds up a soft lining of tissue. When a fertilized egg moves into the uterus, it attaches to the spongy lining, which contains nutrients to feed the tiny fertilized egg, so it can begin to grow into a baby over the next 9 months. When pregnancy occurs, a woman will stop having menstrual periods until after the pregnancy is completed. But if the egg has not been fertilized by a sperm, about 2 weeks later, it is eliminated from the body. This egg is so tiny it is not possible to see it leave. but you do see the soft lining of the uterus that is also released, going past the cervix, through the vagina, and out of the body. This flow looks like blood, but is composed of clumps of body tissue. This process is called menstruation, or having your period, and continues for 3 to 7 days. A woman's entire menstrual cycle usually lasts about 28 days. During this time, first, the uterine lining grows, then an egg is released. If the egg is not fertilized, the lining must be discarded.
What do you do about all that blood?
To absorb this flow of tissue and blood, there are a few options. Outside the body, you can wear a special absorbent pad that fits into your underwear to catch the flow. Or you may use tampons, which are inserted inside the vagina. Each young woman's development is a bit different. Your period can begin as young as 9 or as late as 16 years old. Both are in the normal range.
Having a period just means your body is now physically capable of having a baby, even though your brain and body will not fully mature until your mid-20s. This is why teens can get pregnant, even during the very first time they have sex, long before they are ready or capable of being good parents.
That's a lot of information. Let's review it.
This is the penis. This is the scrotum, holding 2 testicles. The testicles are where sperm mature. Boys get erections, which is when the penis becomes larger and stiffer. During puberty, a boy can also ejaculate a small amount of whitish fluid, filled with tiny sperm out of the tip of the penis. If this happens when you are asleep, it is called a wet dream.
The vagina is a passageway into a woman's body. You can see the vulva, the name for the outside genital area. A small but essential part of the vulva is called the clitoris. A woman's genitals include the ovaries and uterus or womb, which are all protected by the pubic bone.
During puberty, a girl starts to get her period. Every month, a woman's body makes a special lining where a fertilized egg could start to grow. But if a woman doesn't get pregnant, that lining is not needed, so it leaves your body. It looks like a lot of blood, but it's mostly tissue. This is what a menstrual period is.
Sexual attraction feels like a magnet between 2 people. It makes you excited about another person. It is not always easy to define, and sometimes it is not balanced. You might have feelings for someone, but he or she might not have the same feelings for you back. Puberty is a time when crushes are powerful. Passions can feel strong.
But it is better to wait to have sex with a partner until you both have the maturity to handle the responsibilities, commitments, and consequences that come with sexual intimacy.
Yeah, but what really happens?
When 2 people get excited, the man gets an erection, and the woman's vagina becomes wet inside. This moisture makes it more comfortable for an erect penis to penetrate the vagina. The couple are physically ready for intercourse.
Intercourse is when the man inserts his penis into a woman's vagina. Friction and more excitation causes the man to ejaculate. Once ejaculated, his sperm swims towards the woman's egg to attempt to fertilize it. This is why it is important to wear a condom to prevent a pregnancy. A condom works as a barrier to stop the sperm from fertilizing the woman's egg.
A condom also blocks vaginal fluid, semen, or blood from being exchanged between sexual partners. Viruses and bacteria can be carried in these bodily fluids. This is why condoms also help prevent the spread of diseases, especially sexually transmitted diseases, STDs, such as HIV, which is the virus that causes AIDS.
And these are the most important things you need to know about puberty.
Hey, I'm okay. All this change is a natural part of growing up.
Everyone goes through puberty in their own way, in their own time.
Learning about my body helps me relax about what's happening.
I'm okay. There's no need for concern.
Everyone is different.
It's puberty.
It's all about change.
And it's all perfectly normal.